over 800 indigenous languages. Those languages belong to 800 different indigenous peoples. And so not everyone in Papua New Guinea looks the same. There's people from Central Province who are more light-skinned, and the girls have longer hair. They look more like people from Micronesia, and there's people from Buka, like Bougainville, and they're really, really dark. People from Highlands, usually they're more light-skinned because it's really cold up there. And they're usually more like built because of all the walking that they do, all the work that they do. It's really different. And then the famous people that, the brown-skinned, blonde-haired people with blue eyes. That's not in our mission, but in actually lay mission, but it's like the Tolai people. It's a lot. It's one of the things why I love like the country so much, because it's really unique. It's original. Like the people there, they're all the same country, Papua New Guinea, but they're all different. They're different tribes, and those different tribes have different customs, like different languages, different beliefs, different way how they the way they do things, and just the fact that there'd be, for example, there'd be one village with a certain language, their own beliefs, their own customs, the way they dress, the way they act, everything, the way they look. And then there'd be another village maybe 3-4 hours away, and that village would have a completely different, set of, things like language, the way they look, the way they do things, custom. It's really, like I said, like really unique about the country. And a place, for example, where I saw the most culture was where you could see like the most culture, like cultured people, I guess. Like people still in touch with their heritage, their culture, their traditions are usually in the smaller villages. And like how I said before, I spent a lot of time in a village called Suki. That was the first time for me to actually see like, a lot of traditional things that they do. So, like dancing around, I guess people compare that to like how Native Americans, how they do their traditional dances. Usually dance around a fire, the men and the women. Traditionally the men would wear nothing but, just like a loincloth or a grass skirt, and the women would just wear just a grass skirt. They would have like headdress or something like that. The dancing would they'd just be chanting, and then the men would be beating a long drum called a kundu, and they would just be, dancing and beating that. You can hear when all the men have the same drum and they're just beating it at the same time, it's like thunder. You can hear it like, a mile away, just them, dancing and beating at the same time. It's really something. They have a really, like where I served in Western Province, they have like a really big belief on crocodiles. And I'm sorry, it's not really where I served, but there's crocodiles where I was serving, but more in some areas. For example, like Sipik, they had like a really like not belief, but like superstition. Yeah, superstition, or they really just the crocodile was like a big part of their life, their culture. And so, just to be specific for Sipik, they would as a rite of passage for the boys, they would scar their bodies to make it like the back of a crocodile. And that would be like, when you went through that would be, oh, you're a man now. And so that's just one example of, all the boys, different villages, different tribes, they have like their own rite of passage. For example, the place in Suki, what I know is that a boy, he would go hunting with his father. Would slowly begin to do things. He would go slow. His father would teach him how to, go to the bush, do a garden, like to cultivate crops. But mainly to go hunting and to build a house, which is important for that area to actually to live, to survive, to provide for yourself and your family. And so what I seen with my own eyes, actually, boys learning to build their own houses from scratch, from things, from materials from the bush, materials from the jungle, or boys being able to learn to hunt on their own without the assistance of their father, being able to just use, their own, wits, or, just their own instincts. And then over there, like, to my knowledge, what I've seen is, that's how they're like transition from a boy to a man. But as far as how I said about cannibalism, it's not really, contrary to popular belief, is, that's like basically abolished in the country. I mean, there's some, I'm not gonna say that there's some people, I've seen it, but there's some people that I've heard that they still practice it. It's far deep, remote places, but it's not like a widespread thing like people, do it normally. It's all just like abolished ever since Christianity first came to that country. But the people there, they have a really rich history, a rich culture from before the light came, which is before Christianity came. And so that'd be always fighting, always killing each other, cannibalism. The things that people hear stories, the headhunters. That was actually like the place where I was serving, Suki, and so they have like a real history, like a real history that we would always hear from the old timers that they saw with their eyes. People just stacking skulls just for like, as much. The more skulls you had, basically the more men you killed, the more skulls that you had, the people that you beheaded or something. Like it made you like your status, like as a man, basically. Like you were kind of like a chief, something like that. Like you were able to get like more women, basically. But that was before. Now it's it's a bit different. Just how I explained before. It's basically, I guess how you would be a man is how good you could provide for yourself and your family. How well you can hunt, how well you can fish, how well you can do. Basically how hardworking you are. The more hardworking you are, from what I saw, the more hardworking you were, the more respect that you earned. Basically, the more if you were a good hunter, you would earn respect. If you were, a good, if you knew how to make a good bow and arrow, you would earn respect. If you knew how to carve a canoe very well, you would earn respect. A lot of things, basically, you earn respect. You would be from what I see in my experience, they considered you like basically, like a man. But from, like I said, it's different in a lot of tribes, a lot of places, a lot of villages. I haven't gone there. I just heard stories, but for the most part, the place that I was talking about was the place that I served in, Suki.